Hello, in this video I'll be talking about how to manipulate the golden interrupt branch. Um, so this branch would be utilized for any cancels or quick interruptions, as I said before. Stuff like um, 7 spheres reacting to your Makiri, Ishin turning around, and some way more other examples. So for right here, we're at the golden interruption branch. I honestly don't know what these are, but these don't really interest us. So in this branch right here, usually you would use special effects to kind of make the gold into a proc, goes off a bunch of times. So in this example right here, we're gonna look at this. This is one I made myself already, and so this right here basically, actually, let me make this a little easier for ourselves. So what I'm going to do is replace this variable name with interrupt special effect and visible. And so you'll find a local, and you'll equal arg1 get special effect activate interrupt type 0. I would suggest changing the name because you're going to be using this a bunch of times. So the first if statement is if the special effect appears in general, any special effect appears in general, and we'll quickly go back to the top real quick. You would register a special effect by copying one of these rows and adding your own. These right here are my own. I use these special effects. You just use your own names and such, and the AI will read them. So we're going to go back to interrupt. So say for example, right here, we're going to look at this out of all things. You're going to find a line if arg1 is interrupt special effect. That means any special effect occurring, you will check, it's going to check every single special effect or anything you wrote essentially. So this is a Lone Shadows Lua. So if any special effect appears, it will check if it's 5027, if it's 5028, something like that. So in this example, we're going to look at this one here, 3, 9, blah 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 blah. This is what I use on the point. So we're going to look at the Lone Shadow model. And so I've already made my own interruption right here. Go over here. So in this animation, this is him charging with posture, and most players will go up and start hitting him and such. What I essentially done is that I added a bunch of blink special effects. They have no actual effect or statistics. They're just there to have logic. So during the animation, if during the animation right here, this is the interruption special effect. So this will go off, and it'll check, and you can put anything you want. So if you really want him just to instantly kick right then and there, you can go ahead and put it right here. This is the special effect. Put if statement. Put attack. What we're gonna look at right here is that the if statement. I put another if statement. If, this doesn't actually matter. Don't worry about this. This does not matter whatsoever. But if F45 local 1, I'm also gonna replace this actually, so it's easy for you to read. This is just distance. This is interruption distance. Okay, so now in 3901 or whatever, if interruption distance, so this is just the distance between the Lone Shadow and the player right here. So during these intervals of the special effect being played, it will run the interruption branch. It will check this special effect, and then it will check this if statement right here. And so if the player is below 3 meters to Lone Shadow, he will perform anything below. So what I did is that I put a sub goal and I added a combo repeat of a kick. So normally this would just go off no issues. But if the player approaches, I put a jump table right here. That's if combo attack, and has some special effects. Also tip. For a special effect interruption, do not make it one big bar. You have to they only do it per instance. So if you were to do this, it would only check once. It would check once at the very beginning and wouldn't check again. So you would have to do it like this. It would check like every frame. It's a pretty archaic, but it works for now. And so if it will check, clear the instructions and add a kick, and now since this block is here, it will perform it. So it would look like this. If the player was actually walking up, we can go check plus animation. This is 3018. It will now do 3018. So it will look like this. It's a reaction to the player getting close. Along with that, this is a little harder. It's a lot harder actually. Never mind, I realize what I'm looking at. So, if you want an enemy to turn around, for example, if the player's behind them, here's another blank special effect. You've already learned about this one. This is just a health bar check. Ninjutsu, if health bar equals 1. You don't have to worry about that. This is just for my sake right here. So, if we look at the Lone Shadows animations, yeah, so for these poison animations, after it ends, right here, it will go into the next combo. It will go into the next move. But if a player dodges it, so the player gets behind him, he will not choose this move. Instead, he will continue the animation like this. But I added a health bar check and added this whole new mechanic where if you get behind him or try to flank him, he will start to check if the player is behind him. So during each of these intervals, he will check if the player is on his right, on his left, or behind him. He'll check this right here. We're going to look at only this. If inside target enemy, direction type B. I'm assuming that means behind. Don't quote me on that. 90, I don't know why it's 90. 90 is utilized for it to like make sense, I suppose. So attack direction B90 will be behind 90 degrees. I don't know how it works exactly. I don't know what axis rotates. 90 is just a straightforward direction. So this will check directly behind him. I put OR statement. Attack direction type L, which is left, so he will check left. He will check right. And if that goes up, he will then check if the target distance is below 2.5. Don't worry about this part. He will just check if the target distance is below 2.5. Clear the sub-goal, and then he'll add an attack. So during this animation, it will look like this. Normally, if there was no interruption, it would just play like this. But now there's an interruption and the player gets behind him, he can react. So he will now instead perform, let's see, this move. The kick behind him. So that's only if the player juts in, essentially.